The workflow in this tutorial could save you hundreds, thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the scale of your business. You need to learn it. I'm going to show you a super easy, very affordable workflow for generating your own landing page and tweaking it with the help of AI in no time at all. I'm going to show you how to generate a website with Bolt, move it into StackBlitz so you can then create a GitHub repo from it, deploy that GitHub repo onto Netlify onto the internet, and then import it into Cursor AI so you can make changes locally on your computer. And then as soon as you make any update ever, it'll automatically publish your changes to the web. It's pretty incredible. It's quick. It's cheap. You don't need to know coding or be a developer or anything like that. It's totally suitable for beginners. Let's dive in. Here we go. I like this Stripe payment support. I've never used it before, so let's make a checkout page, huh? Like a sales page with a built-in checkout. Let's make a sales page with a built-in checkout using Stripe API. So I've been working on a product actually, so let's just use this. Okay, so I've given it everything here. The name of the offer, the tagline, the recommendation, the pricing, the guarantee, the curriculum even. So I'm putting all this in. I'm saying built-in checkout using Stripe API. There's all the details, and let's just let it roll. I would say I would normally try to give it a brand style guide first, like create a color palette, maybe even make a logo, find the fonts I like. But in this case, for this tutorial, we just gave it everything. So here's making all these components we're going to need. And I still haven't used this whole Stripe API in Bolt. So I'm excited to check this out. Working with the Stripe API kind of sucks, because it's a lot of work for something that just feels easier to just use a no-code SaaS type of situation. But you can save a lot of money by using the Stripe API and putting it into your own code. Like Samcart here, which is a commonly used one, like, look at that, $79 a month. Okay, $59 a month. That's still expensive for a new business. Thrivecart, I think, is cheaper, but it's still like, lifetime for $500. Okay, still expensive. So using the Stripe API is definitely an alternative that can save you some money. Okay, cool. So we got it. Wow. Eliminate $1,000. Yeah, cool. Actually, this looks pretty good. Oh, I like what it did here. And it's definitely enough to where I don't need to use any more Bolt credits, because this is just, this is all I need. Yep. Secure your spot today. Oh, great. And it's got it all the way here. Let's see if it's going all the way. I don't know how. Yeah, because we'll see later when we get it local. But so that's where we're at now. We've got it generated on Bolt. And now we go to open in StackBlitz. So to make that clear, you want to click export, open in StackBlitz. And what's neat about StackBlitz, if you've never used it, is you can have the code here as you got your preview right there. And there might be an AI agent. Yeah, right here. Ask Bolt.need set AI pair programming assistant. So it looks like it goes back and forth if you need help. Or if you want to add things, you got to go back to Bolt not new, which I am not into so much. That's why I use Cursor, which we're going to get to momentarily. So how do we get from here to Cursor instead of having to go back to Bolt.new? So we're going to click this button here, create a repository. And then if you haven't already, you're going to need to connect your GitHub account to StackBlitz. And I'm going to call this offer sales page. I'm going to make this private because I don't want it to be public at the moment. All right, so now we've got it on GitHub. You see that button has disappeared. It shows you we're on the main branch. We could create a new branch, blah, blah, blah. Not too concerned about that for this project, especially right now, because all it is a landing page. So what's next? We're done here. We're done. So we're going to go to Netlify now, and we're going to log in to our account, and you can have a free account and still do this. You do not have to pay here, okay? This is a way to save on hosting expenses. You can deploy several websites. So now I'm going to go to add new site, and we're going to choose import an existing project. And then I choose GitHub, and it's going to connect me to GitHub. And we're going to find the app. And so we could scroll down here, and we called it offer sales page. I call it offer sales. Offer sales page. Wow, that's available. All right, and then all of this can be default. So If we had other branches, because we're working on many features, maybe you want to deploy different branches, not relevant for us. If we have a different directory in the GitHub repo, so for example, our whole project is here in the base directory, but if we had a directory called the website, and we needed to move into that directory, you would put that as the base directory. Build command, that's not going to change. We use npm. This is a Node TypeScript project, so it's npm run build. Whereas it could be Jekyll, Gulp, Make, whatever the framework is. Which in my case, in most of my tutorials, it's always going to be npm. Publish directory is dist. Sure, yeah, all of this is fine as the default. Now here, since we're using Stripe, we're going to have to add environmental variables. Now you can see here in our file, it didn't give us a .env file. It was probably here in the git ignore. Oh, it's not even in the git ignore. But we're going to need it because we have the Stripe. So I'm not going to add this in now, but what we would do is we would just go to add key value pairs, or you could just import. You could copy and paste the whole .env file, but I'll just do it one by one here. And we'll say Stripe public key, and then I would paste the key here, right? And then I would do Stripe API key. I don't even know what you actually need. You might just need the Stripe API key, and then you paste that in. Okay? I'm going to remove these because I don't actually have them there, and then I'm going to deploy it. So you might have an OpenAI key, API key there, any API key you're going to have there, any sensitive data. The .env file carries sensitive data, and Netlify handles that very well. Real quick, if you're an entrepreneur and you're somewhat frustrated that AI is everywhere, but you can't figure out how to practically implement it into your business, the very first thing you're going to need to do besides subscribe to my channel is start learning the command line. Because with very basic command line competence, you can start harnessing AI, even if it's as simple as building projects like this one, using Git. You have to learn the command line just to use Git. So if you haven't gained that competence yet, check out the link in the description. 5-day command line bootcamp. It's free. It'll get you started. Over 100 people have taken it and found value in it. So I recommend you check that out. Okay, let's get back to the video. So now this is going to get ready to deploy. If we want, we can click it and see the deploy log. It's done building. This is also where you might need to go to debug sometime. If there's a build error, you get it in there, and then you can show your cursor AI agent later, like, hey, what happened? Can we fix this? But fortunately, this is a very simple site. So not one of our concerns for the moment. And as that finishes, it looks like it's published. Is it published? Is it published? It's published. So now I can just click the link here, offer sales page.netlify.app, and here we go. It's online. Isn't that crazy? I do not have to do anything now to get my offer online. There it is. All of that copy and pasted from a Notion document that I spent all morning working with not only Claude, but also Llama and Open Web UI. I actually was working on this with Llama 3.2 and Gemma 3. Llama is Meta's open source LLM model, and Gemma is like based on Gemini, I guess. I don't know if it's made by Google or not. It might be. But they're really powerful, actually. And for a lot of stuff, like, it gets the job done. So here I was just working on this conversation locally on my computer. This is all here in localhost. So we can do more videos like that later. But my point is that I spent a few hours figuring that out. And then now we have a whole sales page and it's online, and I could literally put this into the description here. And maybe I will. The real thing is I need to make a waitlist because I haven't built this out yet. I'm still just figuring it all out. But there's a few things I want to change and fix like this. So we're going to do that now in Cursor. So we've got it up on Netlify. It's live. And so I'm going to open up Cursor and I'm going to click clone repo. And here, clone from GitHub, it automatically is connected. It's already connected to my account, so it knows what I got going on. So I'm just going to start typing offer sales page. And so you could fork others. It doesn't even have to be yours, but it starts by searching my account. And then I'm going to choose where I want to put it. And now it's cloning that repository. I click open. Now that it's there, the first thing I'm going to do is open a new terminal. And the terminal up there, the terminal menu up there, you might not be able to see it in the screen share. Sorry about that. And then I just click I type in npm I. npm means install. I means install. You could put I or install. They will both work, okay? npm means node package manager. This is a node project, and there's dependencies that it needs to install that we can see here in the package.json file. Dependencies, so it needs Stripe. It needs the front end and the back end, I guess, the API and the React components, because this is using our site uses Next.js, which is using React as the front end framework. So it needs the React components for Stripe, and then it needs React, Lucid, those are icons. And then it's got some other things that it needs to download to install into our project. So that's what npm install does. I press that, and it's going to install everything we need. Sometimes you're going to see these issues. There's one high. Maybe I'll just do that for sake of this tutorial. npm audit fix. And let's see what it does. Normally, I don't concern myself too much about that. So let's see, npm audit report. So if I do that again, yeah, now we only have 3 moderate severity vulnerabilities, whereas before we had 6. So we audited it and we fixed it, and now we feel a bit better. So now that we've installed it, we do npm run dev. Now, real quick, earlier when we were deploying in Netlify, you could see that the build command was actually npm run build. Build command from Netlify, npm run build, okay? So that's the command to build this whole project, okay? That's what's happening over on Netlify. It's building it, so it's just making flat files that then your browser can read, and you can, look, you can view the page source here and see the HTML. Now, in our case, there's not a lot of HTML because it's all using React, but over here, when we inspect it in the console, we can see all the HTML there that is creating the page we see. So we don't need that open, and I can go back to cursor here. That's npm run build, but when we're running locally, we're just going to run npm run dev. And that means we're going to create a development server. So now, here, if I command click localhost 5173, that means it's going, localhost means it's on our computer, and port 5173. That's what port it's using. You could technically set that to use any port you want. So here we go, and this is our local installation. So this is not online, like this one. So here I go, I can work on everything here without having to worry about it showing up online. So if I were to want to change, for example, there's $2 here for some reason. So I'm going to go here into the code. There's 2 ways I could do this, and I'm going to show you both ways. For the easy stuff like that, I'm going to find the page, sales page. Now, I obviously have some familiarity with how these project structures are set up. You might not, that's okay. You go to search, and you just type in special offer, and then I put that there because I know that that's the problem. Okay, now I'm not seeing it. So let's try that again. Special offer, there it is. Okay, now what happened there was it looks like these squiggly lines mean that's like code it's taking from somewhere else. So it's already taken that code with a $sign. So if I just remove that code and I save the file, see how that switched over? Look at it again. Saving the file, now there's 2 of them. And I remove it, save the file, now there's just 1 of them. And see how it does that in real time almost. It's going to fix it up. So we're going to go through just briefly. There's some things I want to fix. So that's scroll to learn more, right? It's not working to scroll. So here I am on the page where I just fixed that special offer price, and I'm going to find, scroll to learn more. And as you see these squiggly lines in here and the / indicate a comment, which means it's not going to be seen anywhere, like right there. But we're going to use that to say, okay, here's the scroll indicator, scroll to learn more. I'm going to highlight that. Then I'm going to add it to chat. I can click this, or I can do Command L, Apple L, add it to the chat. Now here in the chat, I'm going to say, make sure when I click this button, it scrolls below to the next section. Send. And now you're going to watch the magic happen with the Cursor AI agent. Okay, so what it needs to do here is add an ID to the entrepreneur section. So in order for that to happen, every section needs its own ID. So that way, basically the code knows where to send it. So it's an ID, send it to that ID. Now we did that, but the code disappeared. The button disappeared. So I say, the link disappeared. I'm just going to make this a little smaller here. There, it's back. It's back. And it worked. Okay, cool. Now, I might want to change the padding there eventually, but it doesn't bother me too much. Click that. Okay, cool. It works. And the next thing is I don't like that logo, but I'm not going to change it right now. I wanted to change these modules. In fact, I would take this and I would say, I would actually I'm going to go to Notion, copy this, and then I'm going to go back to Open Web UI actually. And I'm going to say, help me write out the modules for the sales page, details for the sales page. Okay, great. So it's giving me image ideas. And this is slow, by the way, because this is coming straight from my computer. Just going to reiterate that. Don't feel limited by having to use ChatGPT or Claude. You can actually own your data. You can do this locally. You can do it in a way where not everything you do is going to training new models. Not to mention corporate companies, big tech, just knowing everything about you, which maybe we can't hide from that. But when we can mitigate it, let's mitigate it. The open source LLMs are getting so great. But yeah, this is kind of slow. And if anything, I would use it here and then go to Claude or ChatGPT to get a different perspective on it. Here are the 6 modules. Now I'm going to copy these and I'm going to find the module section. So once again, here's what I wanted to do here. I wanted to kind of fix this up to make it more informative, and I'm also going to fix the styling. So let's just search course curriculum. There it is. I'm going to turn on here in the view menu up here. Once again, sorry you can't see it up there. I'm going to go to word wrap, turn that on. I could also just do Option Z, and that turns on word wrap. So now I can see everything. Okay, we've got our requirements there. There we go, the curriculum module. I'm going to copy this div starting with that holds the curriculum module, and I'm going to go down to the end of it. Okay, and now I'm going to add this to the chat. I'm actually going to make a new chat. And right here, I have auto select on because this is a fairly easy task, what I'm about to do. But if it's more complex functionality, I might want to turn on Claude's 3.7 Sonnet Max or Gemini 2.5 Pro or even GPT 4.1. In fact, I'm going to use GPT 4.1 because I trust it quite a bit. And it's not a premium model. It's 4 cents per request, per prompt on Cursor. So, but it's 5 cents when you use these max models. So, it's not a huge difference, but when you're doing like 100 a day, might make a difference. So I'm going to paste in, actually, I'm not going to paste in yet. I am going to highlight all of this. I've got it highlighted. Let's do that again. And I'm going to do Apple L. And then I'm going to say, replace the module data with the following. And I'm just pasting what Gemma gave me earlier. We're going to use 4.1. Now, one other thing is you could use Ask if you have a question about how something works. It's cheaper. I pretty much use Agent for everything. I'm always just telling it to do stuff. I very rarely use Ask, but sometimes you want to understand how your code base works a little better, so you would do that. So let's send that prompt. So it recognizes that there's no image in there, and it needs to add an image. I don't really need an image in there, but it's going to do it anyway. And if I don't like it, I'll just tell it to not keep it in there. So then it has this change here. It shows me here in the curriculum module component what's going on. The green means it's added, the red means it's removed. I can do things on their own, like one at a time, or I can just click accept file for all of them. And we're going to see the changes over here as it works, which is always fun. Module 1, Digital Marketing Foundations. It's a bit much, so we're going to go ahead and format those better. I'm going to say remove the images. We don't need the images. Remove the images from each module accordion and format the text better inside to be more appropriate for a sales page. I don't know if that was the best way to prompt that, but basically remove the image and it's just a lot of text. I don't like all the text. Okay, so I still don't like that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to search for stop chasing leads. Now, we see that this is the curriculum module and this is what it's got inside. And now MB2 in the CSS frameworks means margin bottom 2, which means at the bottom it's doing a margin of whatever the 2 is, 2EM or whatever. What we want also is MT2. And see how it added that? In fact, we might even want MT5. See how I made more space there? So that already looks better. But I got to change all of them. You could just do the same thing I did earlier, copy all of them, and it would hopefully do that right. But then you're using a request, you're using a prompt, and maybe you don't want to do that because it does add up. I'm just going to copy and paste that into each one. And then we have that tiny little formatting fixed. Now, honestly, Bolt should have never had that problem to begin with, but it's okay. So now that looks better, but what I want to do is add more line spacing. So I'm going to copy this whole section again, and I'm going to say to the agent, add more line spacing to the text inside the module accordions. And we're going to see more line spacing. And this is also a little bit inaccurate because this is not a marketing situation. There. Now we got some more line spacing. It looks a bit better. So this is all going to need to be fixed. But point in case is that this is how you start making your changes. The last thing is I would say let's try to get, and these aren't real, so I've got to take those out. So that's how I use cursor to make the changes. Now, finally, what we want to do is we can do Control-C inside the command line, and that stops the process, whatever process is going on. In this case, it was npm run dev. And now localhost is gone because the process was stopped. That's because we're now going to update our GitHub repo. So if I'm here, you'll see that it was 28 minutes ago that we made our initial commit. So right now, I'm going to stage all the changes with git add dot. Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you stage the changes, where you say git. These are everything that was changed since the last commit. Get those ready to go to the next commit. I press enter, and then I say git commit flag message. I say small little changes, module, text, etc. You can write anything you want here. This is for your records, like the first commit was this, initial commit. I press enter. You can see 3 files changed, 220 insertions, 237 deletions. Finally, I say git push, and then it sends from the local computer to GitHub. When I click refresh on GitHub, you'll now see, okay, in these folders, these changes were made. But in these ones, the last change was still made 30 minutes ago with the initial commit. And meanwhile, I can come back to Netlify, to our deploy log, and we can see that's building with that latest commit. Small little changes, module text, etc., which is pretty neat. The final thing to discuss, if this is what you're looking for, is here on the original site overview. Now that we have that page on Netlify, what if we want to put it on a domain? So I'll say put on a domain I already own. I'm going to use offer.aicaptains.com because I know I have aicaptains.com already here on Netlify on my account. So we'll add that subdomain. And as soon as that's prepared, this will be fixed, this SSL certificate situation. But until it's fixed, then until that's there, we don't need to worry about it. Okay, so that deploy has been published. So while we wait for the domain, we can see that now I can click that to scroll. And we've got the updates to the modules. And then we wanted to check the domain. Oh, there it is. offer.aicaptains.com. And it looked like that SSL thing took care of itself. So there it is. All in like 20, 30 minutes, we got this whole thing running. A whole website. It looks good. I think it might even convert some people. I mean, it's not meant to convert anyone yet. But maybe that's how we'll close this off. I want to add a waitlist. So instead of a checkout, this is what I'll tell cursor. I'm going to make a new chat. I'm going to say, instead of a checkout modal, hide the original. Don't remove it because we want to use that later. Add a join the waitlist email subscription form. And then I'm going to go to ConvertKit. I'm going to create a new form. I'm going to call it offer waitlist. And we're going to say email, first name. We don't even have to worry about that. Then I press publish, click embed. And really all we need is this. That's all we really need. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this whole HTML here, and cursor's going to fix it to match our website. Here is the ConvertKit HTML code for the form. See how long and annoying that is. Make sure to clean it and polish it to match our design. Now, I'm going to do npm run dev again so we can go to it on our local machine. And here we are, it's running again. And I'm going to scroll down. I don't even know where it's going to put it, but let's just see what happens. I like the color scheme. So it made a new component called the waitlist form. You can see this is all green because it's all brand new. Still going. Sometimes it gets caught up, so I'm going to press stop. Let's say continue. All right. So it looks like on its own, it made the decision to put it in the guarantee, which is interesting. And it hit the modals. So let's see. Okay. Oh, and I got it. Confirm your email. Okay. So the form works. Finally, to close this out, I'll do another git commit and a push, but this time I'm going to do it the quicker way. Git add all, and the double and sign means and. Git commit message waitlist form and git push. Boom, there it is. We'll see the latest push here on GitHub, and it's going to deploy on offer.aicaptains.com. So that is how I make websites in no time at all. I get professional results, web pages, landing pages, sales pages for clients, for myself. It's a pretty amazing time to be alive. I hope you found value from this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in learning how to use AI very practically in your entrepreneurial workflows. The opportunities are endless. Drop a comment. Let me know how you use this workflow, and I'll see you in the next video.